Hello everybody, it's me, George B, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about mediumship. Just to let you guys know, before I begin, I'll let you guys know about a fantastic offer we have here at the Circle, which is 29 pence per minute for the first 10 minutes for our new customers only. Also, the first 10 people to book a reading in with myself after this video will receive a free tote bag from the Circle. To take advantage of this offer, please call 0800 0678 950. That's 0800 0678 950. Alternatively, if you're more of a technical person, which I am not, you can log on to www.thecircle.com. And just to let you guys know, I'm going to be rotated in from 8:30 this evening till 9:30. Tomorrow, 8:30 again till 9:30. Thursday, I'm going to be rotated from 8 PM to midnight, the witching hour. And please don't forget to like and share this video. And please don't forget to comment as well, guys, so I can see that you guys are here and see your lovely comments. And don't forget, if you want to ask questions, please go for it. Yay, I have a lovely like. So, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about mediumship. And before I begin with that, I want to talk about what mediumship actually means. So mediumship, in a sense, is a medium acts as a conduit. It acts as a conduit between the world of the living and the world of the dead. And so normally when we're talking about mediums, we're talking about people. But a medium doesn't necessarily have to be a person. So for instance, this is my stang, and this is a tool I use within workings of hedge witchery. And so what I will normally do is I will take my stang and I will plunge it in a pot of earth, and it will act as a medium, almost like a totem pole between this world and the world of the spirits, and so that the spirits can come through this, and it will act as a conduit. So this technically can be a medium. Also, very, very controversial, I know, but the feared Ouija board is a medium in itself, as it is a tool that acts as communication between this world, its physical embodiment, and the spirit world, the messages that we get. But that's a different video. So the word medium, the practice of mediums, is to mediate communication between the spirits of the dead and the living, okay? And you have to remember, since the dawn of time, since the beginning of humanity, man and people have found ways in which we communicate with our loved ones, in which we communicate with our ancestors, and this will come through different cultures. So for instance, the shamans in various different places would act as mediums, so that their ancestors or other people's ancestors who went to them could come through the shaman and give advice, give counsel, give help. And so a medium doesn't just have to be what we perceive as the spiritualist medium. And normally when we do talk about mediums, we are talking about spiritualist medium. And spiritualism is a movement which was developed in 1848 by the Fox sisters, by the Hydesville rappings. And so what used to happen was they used to communicate with a spirit through rappings. And so it would be, for instance, say yes for no, knock once for no, 2 knocks for yes. And so they would ask yes/no questions and start to develop a relationship with that spirit and communicate with that spirit. You have to remember as well, mediums are trained people. Mediums are trained individuals that have sat in groups called circles, which my mum runs circles. And there they will learn to develop themselves. They will also learn to open themselves up in order to get communication, as well as close themselves down. And this is the important part. A medium, 9 times out of 10, is a person that will, will be developed within circles. Not all the time, but mostly in terms of a spiritualist medium. But they will know how to do things safely. They will know how to protect themselves. They will work with their guides. They will work with their helpers and their allies that they have to help connect this world with the other world. And we can get various different ways in which the spirits come through. So for instance, you have clairvoyance, which is sight, images. So if I am giving a reading to someone and all of a sudden I have Laburnum Road just pops up into my head, I would say, oh, and since we're saying, since your Uncle Frank's come here, did he live anywhere near Laburnum Road? And that person will be like, yeah, yes he did. And that's how that can work. We can also get images in terms of what the person's face looked like, in terms of how they looked in various aspects and stages of their life. The next one is clairaudience, which is a very interesting one, very comical. When I first started to hear spirit, I felt like I was going crazy, and I was only very, very young. But clairaudience is hearing. It's when we hear the spirits. It's when the spirits speak to us and they give us names. And sometimes it may come through so close that it kind of feels like breath on your ear or your neck, and you're like, oh, and it throws you off. You know, it can be quite freaky, it can be quite scary. And then we have clairsentience. And clairsentience is a very, very interesting one because that's feeling. And for instance, if I have a very dry throat, I could say, oh, well, your Uncle Frank's telling me that he passed with a condition concerning his throat. Or if I feel like I'm burning up, maybe that person had passed with a fever or suffered with a fever before they passed to the next world. And then lastly, and very interestingly, for me, is an area I'm very interested in, is physical mediumship. And this is where it kind of gets a bit like, whoa, very intense, because physical mediumship concerns apparitions, trance, possession, transfiguration, where faces can move, ectoplasm, things like that. And for instance, in the Victorian spiritualist movement, there was a lot of people where physical mediumship played a major role within the Victorian spiritualist movement through ectoplasms, things like that. Now, we know that there are things where, you know, some of them were a hoax, but there are other instances where people did go to these things and were kind of like, actually, no, I can't physically explain this. And funny stories, speaking of transfiguration, where your face can change. I have a bit of a really bad habit. So every relationship I've been in, without fail, at one point I will freak the living daylights out of someone. And I don't mean to, I genuinely don't mean to, but it's a thing where normally laying in bed and it's dark and they're talking to me and then all of a sudden they go, huh, and it's like, whoa, and they jump out of the bed and they're by the door and I'm like, oh my God, and they'll switch the light on and I'll be like, what? And they'll be like, your face has literally for a moment turned into my granddad. For a second, my granddad was there, or I just saw this old man, or I saw this old woman, really kind of a bit like, whoa, really freaky. Not very funny to them, but to me, it's quite funny, I'm not gonna lie. But I can be quite wicked with my humor. So they have physical mediumship. A medium as well tends to be a person that can have a very interesting life in the sense that there are certain things where they will feel quite different from other people. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that person is better than anyone else. But it just means they're different, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine to be different. A medium can feel very removed. A medium can feel very, maybe a bit alienated with things like that. I know within my life and my things that have happened around with me, I do have the ability, but I don't use it within my readings. Just to let you guys know, it's an area I kind of should look to, but for the moment I'm focusing on tarot. Georgia, I will answer your question in a sec. I'm going to get this last point out and then I promise you I will answer your question. And thank you so much for that. It's a really good question actually. And I've got a really good exercise to give afterwards. So when I was a child, I always remembered feeling very different, feeling maybe a little bit alienated, and over time it's just something you get used to, and it's not a sad thing, it's just a thing that I'm used to. It's kind of like having black hair for me. It's like, it's a thing, but when I was a child, I often remembered the earliest memories of my life were laying in bed, and I remember just seeing darkness and hearing lots of multiple voices. Hello, Alison. Hearing multiple voices, and the voices will get louder and louder, and this darkness would come closer and closer and closer to me. And it would be like, ah! It would be really, really, really terrifying for someone who was like 5 or 4. It would, or even younger, it would be absolutely terrifying. Now I'm like, you know what, come back later because I've got to catch up on beauty sleep. You know, we'll talk about this tomorrow. But when I was a child, I didn't know what this was. It was very, very frightening. So a medium will have experiences at times that may be very hairy and maybe a bit like, ooh, compared to other people. So, Georgia, I'm just going to go back to your question. Hi, George. How do I know if my loved one is around? So, how do you know if your loved one is around? Normally, I find synchronicities to do with that person. So, for instance, dreams. I get a lot of information via dreams. So, when you start to dream about your loved ones, when you see your loved ones in your dreams that are no longer with us here on the earth plane, it's said that we go and visit them or they come to visit us. So that's one way. The other way is perhaps hearing songs that were played at their funeral, smelling their perfume, having synchronicities occur in that sense, having synchronicities that happen around them. And a lot of the times as well, sometimes we just wake up and we can feel them there. We feel them with us. Sometimes we can be lucky enough to see them, physically see them, which may throw some people off, but it depends how they come through. But, which ties into the next piece of information I was going to say. If you feel your loved one is around, if you feel you need to speak to them, if you feel you want to communicate with them, what you can do is a very simple and practical exercise. Hello, Shelley. And all you do is you write a letter. Okay, so for instance, if you feel your nana's been around, you can write a letter to her. Now, this can be good for people that feel they have any unsaid words to their loved ones, things that they didn't say. Perhaps you ended on an argument. Perhaps you feel that there's something you just want to tell them. Perhaps you just missed them. All you do is you write a letter, and then what you do with that letter, you fold it, and then after that, you take it to a dirt crossroads, bury a hole, and then bury the letter, walk away, and don't look back. And it is as simple as that. The second option that you have as well is you can also go to their place where their grave is in the cemetery. Once again, leave the letter with them or bury it if it's very private, walk away and don't look back. And that's the way that we can convey and give messages to the spirit world, to particular people. Make sure you aim it at particular people, and that's very, very important here. Make sure you aim it to particular people. Don't just aim it at anyone. You know, it's kind of like dialing out a number to anyone isn't really good because we don't know who's on the other line. Whereas we have that number, we have the person's name, we know who it is we're contacting, it's going to be a lot more safer for us, and it's going to be a lot more direct and specific. Okay, so the other thing I want to let you guys know, one of the reasons to have a reading in regards to mediumship, as mentioned before, is if we ended on an argument and that person passed away, or if we haven't spoken for a long time and that person passed away suddenly and we was kind of like, you know what, I feel really hurt and upset, and I want to let this person know that I want to see if this person's okay with me and if they know that I'm okay with them. And that's a fantastic way to get a reading. And so on the circle, when it comes to wanting a spiritualist reading, particularly this time of year where the veil between the living and the dead is thinner, then please, you know, don't hesitate, pick up the phone and let us know. You know, pick a reader who is a medium, and you can see on our site we have a lot of mediums on our list who offer a fantastic service and are fantastic at what they do. So, my lovelies, it's been absolutely lovely spending the evening with you. And just to let you guys know before I leave, I want to remind you, my name's George B and my PIN is 1542. Don't forget, it's 29p per minute for the first 10 minutes for new customers only. And the number to call to take advantage of that is 0800 067 8590. That's 0800 067 8590. Alternatively, you can log on to www.thecircle.com. And I'm going to be roped in from 8:30 till 9:30 this evening, 8:30 to 9:30 tomorrow, and Thursday from 8 p.m. to midnight. Don't forget to like and share this video, as it could help someone who is interested in mediumship or interested in reading. I really enjoyed spending time with you guys. And yay, I'm really happy, Georgia. I'm really happy that it's been a good explanation. Thank you so much for asking that question, because it is a fantastic question. So yes, over and out, and